Hey guys, thanks for clicking on this video. Here we're going to talk about regular people selling their house to cash buyers like us. I'm Rudy Mejia. That is Larry Wagner, the one and only, and we are Leave the Key Home Buyers. How you doing, Larry?
I'm well. How are you today, Rudy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for doing this. You always have so much information to share with the public, with
Louder will get
us.
you nowhere, Rudy. Yeah.
That and we I mean I really appreciate you giving us all this information. And for those of you who are just is this your if this is your first time, we try to educate anyone who is in a certain situation. In any situation, we can buy your property. um, Larry, do you think we've helped and resolve every issue that we've come across?
We've never been unable to solve what a homeowner thinks is a problem. We say there really are no problems. There are situations because problems always can't be solved, but situations can be resolved. So it never failed to satisfy a client when they think they have something that to them is insurmountable. To us, it's either ordinary, boilerplate kind of issue, because we do this all day long. People sell the house once or twice in a lifetime. We do this 50 times a year. So issues are usually not a problem for us at all. We've never,
Yeah.
ever left the client unsatisfied as far as resolving an issue.
Now let's talk about people who need to sell their property in order to buy a new home. How does that work? Can you explain to the listeners what
Sure.
they should expect?
Every, at least every month, if not more often, people call us concerned. This is a really elementary problem, but to them it's not. And that is, how do I buy a new house? They bought one house, they were renting, they had money, they bought the new house, they then moved out of the apartment, moved into the new house, everything was easy. But now I'm buying my second home and I've got to sell my first home. If I sell my first home, because I need the money to use that money to buy my second home, then where am I living in between? How do I possibly buy this new house? And what I
Is there
try to
something
explain is,
called a
go ahead.
simultaneous closing, or I'm sorry, a prepossession option, right? That's
There's
what's an
three
option,
issues to
right?
discuss. There's a
Three.
pre-possession option, which is not common, but it's very doable. And it says, I'm selling my home at 123 Main Street, and I'm going to move to 345 Front Street. But I've got to sell my home before I can afford to pay for the new home. But I have to also have time to move, and how do you coordinate all that? So sometimes you get what's called a pre-possession, which says, I'm going to move out of 123 Main Street. I'm going to move into the new home before I actually buy it, and I'll pay some rent, $100 a day or whatever it is, for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And then I sell my first house. I take that money. The next day or 2 days, I go close on the second house, and now we're done. I'm already moved in, and everything's finished. So that's one way to do it. That's called pre-possession. So again, you technically
Okay.
move into the new house prior to owning it,
Yeah.
and that resolves the cash flow crunch.
And moving into the new house with the permission of the seller of the new
Of course, and
house.
it's contract. It's usually done right before closing. It's just for a day, two, maybe 3 days. It's a very short amount of time, and it's in the
Mhm.
contract that that's an option that can be exercised later. So, and later means prior to closing.
Meanwhile, we are the ones that are going to schedule a closing. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
The the closing that we are going to do will be like follow like the next few days after they move to their new home. So they don't have to worry about leaving the house vacant for too long.
All right.
They'll be in a new home and then we'll be closed in like a matter of
Sure.
days.
Let's use a calendar, Monday through Friday. On Monday,
Okay.
they exercise the pre-possession clause. They move into the new house, and let's assume we're buying the current house. They move into the new house on Monday. So Monday's gone. The movers come in. They spent the whole day moving. Tuesday morning, we can go to closing, and then Wednesday or Thursday they can then go to closing on the new house. It's that simple. So in a matter of a few days, this is all done. Did I answer your question, Rudy?
You did. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a great way of explaining it. What about post possession option?
It's kind of the opposite of that. As you could imagine, pre-possession, post-possession. Post-possession is, let's
Hmm.
do the Monday through Friday calendar. Post-possession is, Monday, we buy your house. and then Tuesday or what, and but then you don't leave. You rent the house back from us. Let's say $100 a day. Use that same example again. You rent the house
Hmm.
back from us for $100 a day for 1, 2, 3 days. On Tuesday, you take the money from the sale of your first house and use that money to buy your new house on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you Wednesday or Thursday you then have the moving truck come and move all your stuff to the new house now that you've purchased it. So you've
Wow,
paid rent for a
simple.
few days. It's really straightforward.
Yeah,
Really
yeah. And I
straightforward.
have I've spoken to a few people that would prefer the post possession option the most.
We do that. We do that. No one's. I mean, honestly, as a seller, we're not jumping up and down over it. But if that's what it takes to resolve our problem, we have no problem doing. We do it often enough. But
Hmm.
there's also another option, which I think you mentioned at the
Right,
beginning,
the simultaneous closing,
the
right?
simultaneous closing, which is back to my Monday through Friday calendar. Monday, you have your moving truck load up all your stuff in the morning. While it's
Hmm.
going on, you go to the lawyer's office. You selling your house Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and Monday at 11 o'clock in the morning, you're buying the new house. And that could literally be done in the same office at the same time. I say at the same time. They use the term simultaneous, but 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock or whatever it is, and everything's done in one day, which is the cleanest. But it's sometimes you can coordinate the bank that is has your current mortgage. The attorney is easy because he's going to represent you on the buy and the sell, but you may not be able to coordinate in the bank with the new mortgage. So because the bank has an attorney that represents, so there's too many people, and sometimes it doesn't always work. And of course, you have two title companies, not of course, but there are two title closers, one for the new house, one for the old
Right.
house. That's my title closer. I'm buying your house, and then your title close because you're buying the new house.
Whew.
So there's too many people
Yeah, I can see
sometimes
how
to
that
make
can get overwhelming too.
correct. So if that can work, that's the best. But there's 5, 6, 7 bodies there, and that could be a little more difficult. That could be a little more difficult.
Well, guys, those are three scenarios that we've come across that we could, well, three ways that we can
Right.
work with your issue. Pre-possession option, post-possession option, simultaneous closing.
And let me interrupt you for a moment, Rudy. Just I want everyone to
Yeah.
understand that this represents most every single buyer. Very few buyers can buy a new house without the cash from the house they're selling. That's not the way Americans are set up financially. They don't have that kind of money to put down. For instance, here on Long Island, an average house is, let's call it $600,000. If you're putting 20% down, you need $120,000. Most people don't have a disposable $120,000 laying around, so they really have to sell it. So while you think this is a unique problem to you, it affects 95% of the buyers of new
Yeah.
homes who have a home to sell.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't want to keep this video too long because we go through a lot of topics, but please, guys, we have experience here. We've done this for a while now,
15
15
years.
years,
Yeah.
and we buy about 50 houses a year. Larry has been a blessing to me and to everyone we work with. He really is the bee's knees. He does it
Bees
all. He
knees.
knows. He
You born in
knows.
the
He
50s?
knows. Well, I was trying to keep it in your generation.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was born in the
Yeah.
50s. Yeah.
So we resolve every issue, guys. Every issue we come across, we can resolve it. So if
Mhm.
you know anyone looking to sell, if you have a neighbor or a family member or anyone that is in any situation, please reach out to us and we can explain the process, how this works. We're an open book. We're transparent. You can look at our reviews, like this page, like this channel, subscribe because we have many more videos to come. Thanks, guys. Catch you on the
Thank
next
you.
one.